Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. We have a co-host in the building. Co-host, can you please introduce yourself?
It's me, Kayla.
Well, we ain't seen you in a year, Kayla. So you talking about it's me? Like, you know what I mean? Well, you got to You need to. I'm choking already. I'm nervous. You need to reintroduce yourself.
Calm down.
Kayla, you're in the building as a co-host. The last episode you were on was the beginning of 2021, where we talked about your planners. Kayla made some planners that she sells. She's not doing it this year, but that was the last time we saw you. So thank you for being on. You're not only on here just because you're my wife and there's favoritism. You're on here because the first interview that I did with Kayla was talking about her creative festivities, her creative passions, which is art and poetry. Do I have that right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So now I'm going to give you a backstory on all of this. And Big Chlorophyll Collins, a.k.a. Brandon Cantu, which we interviewed Brandon back in the day on the Cool Hand Podcast. He taps in with me, right? I'm on the gram. He hits the DM. He says, "Hey, yo." I said, "What's up?" He said, "I'm trying to put you on something." I said, "Go ahead, bro. I'm doing some work with somebody right now, and they're real talented." I said, "Say less." Now, the person who Chlorophyll Collins put me onto, their name is Jaz Evon. If I'm saying your name wrong, Jaz, I apologize, but I believe that's how it's pronounced. Jaz Evon has a short film coming out, and this short film is based off of this here book that we have right here called Habits, period. And it's a book. It's a 27-paged poetry book. So it's a short read. First of all, it's a short read, but I'm gonna tell you this now. I didn't finish, but it's a short read, and there is some potent poems in here. And I thought, why not bring a poet on to discuss poetry and review poetry with? So Kayla, thank you for coming on.
It's nice to be here.
I'm long-winded, ain't I? Welcome to the Cool Hand Podcast.
I almost read the whole book in one sitting. I would have, but I had to stop and do some chores. Otherwise, I would have kept going. But I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved the rawness of it all, the genuine vulnerability. Like, it was really, really a good read for me.
When I first cracked this book open, and I'm going to talk about it a little later, I was actually at the gym. I was cooling down, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to do some like mind stimulation while I'm doing like physical exertion and see if I like reach some type of euphoria. And, you know, I don't know. So that's when I first cracked the book open. And as I was reading a specific poem, I was listening to jazz music. Kind of weird. You know, who listens to jazz when you're exercising? But obviously somebody does. So if you listen to jazz music when you work out, please give this a like.
Goodbye.
So we're gonna get into it. You talked about the general or genuine vulnerability. This is vulnerable. The few poems that I did read, they are very vulnerable. Even some of the titles of these poems let you know what you're getting into. What we're going to do in this episode, review, whatever you want to call it today, we're going to talk about a specific poem, one each, and kind of talk about how we felt, what it meant to us, maybe what Jaz meant when she wrote this, and hopefully not make this too long for you. So we have the book right here, just the artwork, like we usually do. When you talk about the artwork, it has a beautiful melanated, animated character with a big flow of afrocious hair.
Afrocious?
Afrocious hair.
Is that even a word? Is that a word?
You know how Mary J. Blige said, "Don't need no hateration," whatever she said, hateration. New words have to start somewhere, and why not on the Cool Hand podcast?
Cause you ain't married.
Yeah, I'm me.
Oh my gosh.
Of course. Like,
anyway,
Mary J. Blige isn't me either.
Go ahead.
I don't think I see your point.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So, before Kayla sneak dissed, I think I said Afrocious hair, Afrolicious hair. And when you look at the artwork, it's a woman and she seems frustrated, maybe even distraught. There is a book, maybe a poetry book, and there's a spilled drink. It's in a mug, so it may be coffee or tea. And just right off the bat with the artwork, you see frustration. I'm talking about, it's a book. This could be a book that you're reading. This can be an assignment. If you spill something that came out of a mug onto something that you're working on, I'm sure it's not it's not a good situation. So that's what I got from the artwork here. Did you have any comments on the artwork, Kayla?
I really appreciated the fact that I mean, it's just really well drawn. Like, I think the style is really nice. Shout out to the artist, who actually is Cartoon Hideout. So big ups to you. But you did a very thorough, I think, description of the cover. I think you described it pretty well. So
where can you find this book? If you wanted to buy this, where can you find this, Kayla?
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Okay, so that's the other thing. Thank you for giving them that information. Now, with the artwork, and we're going to have this up on the screen too, because this is kind of far away. Now, if you notice in the artwork, something that I mentioned before, you see coffee or tea or something in a mug spilled onto a piece of paper. And I believe that I have a special edition of the poetry book, because when it was delivered, it came with something spilled all over it. Now, throughout all 27 pages, well, there's a total of like 30 something pages. It is stained because someone spilled something on my copy of Jaz Evon's book. Now, at first I was a little irritated and frustrated. I contacted the Amazon website. I went to customer service and I said, "This book is unreadable. I want my money back and a replacement." Now, what I did get away with was my money back, but the money back is to buy a new copy. So I guess when you appreciate things in reality, this book wasn't damaged. It was a special edition because, like I said, it came with stuff spilled all over it.
I mean, for all we know, it could be this book on the front with the pages spilled all over it. This is the one we have. We have the one that's on the cover.
So my frustration was warranted. So now I was in the mood to read this book in the right mind. So I talked to somebody else who bought this book, and theirs came in mint condition. So that's how I know my book is special. So yeah. Now, just before we talk about some of the highlights that we got from the poems that we read, I just want to go over some of the titles of these poems. You have Coffee, Records, Loneliness. You have Safe, Vulnerable, Isolation, Cope, Restless. A little later, you have Invested. You have one called Crazy. There's Delusional. There's Unknown, Hurt, Irrelevant, Validation, Open, Closure, Silent Treatment. So what were you talking about before with the vulnerability?
Mm-hmm.
Like
transparency.
Vulnerability, transparency. Perfect. She is really opening up, and you have to give props to her for being able to put herself out there like this. There's various forms of artwork, rapping, singing, drawing, things that you put your emotions into. But I really feel like you get whatever emotions Jaz was going through in these poems.
Yeah,
So
I agree. And I definitely think that her style of writing, especially for the topic at hand that she's writing about, these habits that she's had, it's almost as if it's like an open dialogue, like a monologue almost, the way she writes her poetry. And I think that anybody who can relate to some of the feelings she's feeling, the fact that she wrote it that way makes it a lot more tangible. And as I was reading it, I kept going, kept turning the page, kept reading another one, because it felt like I was getting to know her, and there was so much of myself that I could relate to. So I don't know you, but I feel like I know you, so I really liked that about it.
shout out to Jaz.
Shout out to Jaz.
Shout out to Jaz. And your short film. We're looking forward to that short
Yes.
film. There's a little bit of knowledge that I have on the short film, but you need to go follow Jaz on Instagram so you can get the real details. So we'll leave that up for another day.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a couple poems to talk about. We'll have Kayla start. You had a poem that really stuck out to you that you wanted to talk about and share your opinion on. Which one was that?
That was Lights.
Lights.
Mm-hmm.
You can find Lights on page 14.
I'll read it from the book.
All right, we're about to get, it is now story time, poem time, reading time, will you? With the Cool Hand podcast.
So it goes, and I hope I don't butcher the way that she wanted it to sound. I'm just going to read it how it feels right. So it goes, I don't take well to signals. The other passengers on the road blink their lights off and on, trying to warn me of something. What is it that they're trying to tell me? I'm not sure if they're signaling me or if I'm just imagining things. My bedroom light, bathroom light, closet light, all dimmed. And I did not heed to take action until they all blew out. Not simultaneously, one by one. And even then, I accepted the darkness. I don't take well to hints. When my phone lit up, I was hoping it was you texting me to check on me. And I was reminded for the 12th time this morning that I don't have your interest, because it was not you, but just a notification from Pinterest. I tried and tried to ignore my emotions. I contacted you anyway. Foolish me. So when you gave me the signs at the time, I was so caught up. I was blind to the fact that you will never be mine, not as a lover nor a friend. This is nothing new. Yet again, my heart sinned against me, led me to calamity. When will it end? Snap out of it. All of the hints, all of the signs were loud and bright. Please don't ignore the lights.
I'm sad. I'm not joking. I'm at a loss for words. So thank you for reading that.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to look at it?
Yeah, please share your thoughts.
I think it goes without saying that it was very well written. What I love about this piece is there's like this abstract metaphor. It's like a metaphoric connection between actual lights, no matter where they are. Every light mentioned in this piece is basically like correlating with the way she feels as though she's not able to take a hint. And ultimately how that affects her relationship with this person. And inevitably she has to come to grips with the fact that this other party isn't interested in her in the way that she is interested in them. And all that to say, I love at the end how she says, please don't ignore the lights. So it's like she's recognizing her downfall and this this inability to pick up the signals and things like that. And you see growth at the end, because she's like, don't keep letting this happen to you. You know what I mean? Don't ignore the lights. And it's interesting too when she talks about not getting that text message. You know, every time her phone lights up, it's not that she's getting this person's interest. It's just a notification from Pinterest. The lack of signaling, the lack of signs that she's getting from this person is really the biggest signal or sign of all, is that they not worth you, girl. They not even worth you, you know? They can't even give you the time of day. So I don't know. It just, I love the way it all came together. I think that it was genius. I love metaphors. I'm big on metaphors. So that was beautifully written.
That was great. The one thing that's really sticking out to me for whatever reason, it seems like she had like I don't know if it's like a cognitive bias or confirmation bias. I'm not sure. But there's this part in kind of like the mid end. So when you gave me the signs at the time, I was so caught up. I was blind to that fact that, and it goes on. But it seemed to me that she's still hanging on to something at the time. So it was past, like, so when you gave me the sign at the time, I was so caught up. They were blind to the fact that this person already lost interest. So why not expect a notification from Pinterest? Because you're not going to get it from this other person, because they already gave you the signal that this friendship, this romantic relationship, this whatever was over. Mm-hmm. And that Pinterest stuff hurt. That actually hurt. That hurt me. Because I think a lot of people can relate to that. When you want to get you're waiting for a message from somebody. Yeah. You're waiting for a message from that somebody. Mm-hmm. And you feel your phone vibrate, or it dings, or whatever. You feel your little Apple Watch vibrate or whatever. You look at your device, and then it's Google, or it's your homeboy or homegirl, or like it's all irrelevant because it's not from the person you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And it's like Pinterest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you get that notification and you have that glimmer of hope that it's gonna be this person, and it's Pinterest. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. Like, that's,
he's hot.
And at
he's
that
mad.
moment, you like toss your phone on the floor, bed, whatever. You might be at work. It's like, all right, whatever.
That one, it's not just about what it was about. I just love the way it was written. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
don't ignore the signals, and that's the thing. This is going to be the last thing I'm going to say about it. When we want something so bad, you do ignore things. That's the thing. Like, she did ignore that signal. Mm-hmm. The signal was there, and she acknowledged that. She said, so when you gave me the signs at the time, I'm going back to the thing that I was stuck on. There was a time that everything was there. And it's one of those things where when you finally snap out of it, then you realize, oh, dude was done with me the whole time. He was done with me back then. But you can tell somebody to their face, like, listen, this isn't going to work out. But they might still be hung up. I've been there. I'm saying like but like you be like, no.
He said no.
No, and like in your mind, it's like, no, this can still happen.
Yeah.
Like this is still going. This can work. Mm-hmm. So, moving on. So as I told you, I only read a few pages, but I wanted to read the whole thing, but I thought I haven't read the whole thing yet, and if I don't do a podcast on it now, it's not going to happen. So mine is on page 2. It's not funny because, like, this isn't like you didn't do your homework assignment, so you just come up with something. No, like, this is real.
Yeah, this is a good
this is real.
Poem.
Because, and the thing is, even if I read the whole joint and I talked about more than one poem, this would have been one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there, like I said a little earlier, I was actually working out and listening to jazz music, and we're going to talk about that now. Now, my poem is called Safe, and that's located on page 2. And I was reading this, and I'm definitely going to butcher this. I'm going to say that because she's really rhyming in this one. And as I read this, I may not emphasize the words that are supposed to be rhymed. Not on purpose, but come on. So I was listening to a specific jazz artist by the name of Kamasi Washington. And back when Kayla and I were dating, we went to go see Kamasi Washington live. He came to Pittsburgh. And in one of my very first few episodes, I talked about going to that concert and how I began to levitate and float as I was listening to Kamasi Washington. That's how good his live performance is. I levitated. I never flew after that. I was in the clouds. I orbited the sun. I'm just saying how I felt. Like, it was amazing. That's in my top 2 performances. Tame Impala is one of them. Kamasi Washington is one of them. And it was an amazing performance.
It was fire. It was phenomenal.
If you can ever see Kamasi Washington live, I would recommend it. Now, back to this poem. I was listening to a song called The Magnificent Seven. It's a super long song, but there's so many different elements to it. We'll get back to it after I read this poem. Safe. Is it safe for me to say I'm lonely in the middle of a crowd, still lonely? Wonder should I leave or stay? Who would phone me? I wouldn't trip as if I think you owe me, but tonight I let emotions own me, and I hate to not have control. I just want to know who's real and who's phony. Who would ask me where I'm at? When I'm missing, would you miss me? When I'm this low, would you lift me? See the bruises and the scars? See my light dim into dark? Would you see me? Look right through me? Can I express my deepest thoughts? Is it safe? Will we be okay? Or do you only want me when I'm great? Do you? Do you only want me when I'm great? She repeats it twice. So I'm gonna run that back. Run it back. Or do you only want me when I'm great? Do you? Do you only want me when I'm great? I guess it's safe to say you only play it safe. I'm gonna repeat that because I felt that. I guess it's safe to say you only play it safe. Only come around to fix your plate, but when the table's empty, I never see your face. Okay. Yeah, all right. I'm sorry. I'm just going to, because I know I ran it back a couple times. I want to apologize to the writer because that's not how you intended it. If you wanted to repeat something, you clearly repeated something earlier in the poem. So it's on me to repeat something. That's not how you wrote it. This was crazy because, as I said a little earlier, I was at the gym. I was actually doing like some cardio cool down. I was on the elliptical machine listening to The Magnificent Seven. And if you know what, if you care to, please listen to The Magnificent Seven while reading this poem. But it's not at the very beginning of the song. Rather, I think it's about 4 minutes in. I had this written down on my phone, but I don't have my phone with me right now. But I believe it's 4 minutes in, and the song takes a triumphant and chaotic turn to where there's vocals, there's the trumpet. I think you hear the saxophone of Kamasi Washington. And the song is just raising the volume to a cinematic, chaotic, mountainous thunderstorm. That's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
And think about these chaotic, mountainous, big thunderstorm. Like, this is on some Thor stuff. Like, for real. And I'm listening to this, and I'm reading in my mind. And I can just hear my thoughts getting louder as the song raises. My thoughts are getting louder. It's like she's asking all these questions. When I'm missing, would you miss me? When I'm this low, would you lift me? See the bruises and the scars? And I started reading faster. That's the thing. You saw me reading like a fourth grader just now. But when I was in the gym, I was like, I started reading faster. It was another experience. And I know the point of this is to break it down. But that's when I finished reading this along with that song, I knew I wanted to talk about it. But let's just, as a formality, let me just stick to the script and break this down and what it meant to me. I think it's pretty obvious that this person in this instance only came around, was only there when Jaz or somebody else was all good. When everything was Gucci and gravy, they came around and wanted to be around, maybe cared a little more. But when she might have been down bad, down, just down, low, whatever, where was you at? Where was your support then? Where was your text messages then? Where was the hugs and love then? Oh, I guess you only like to come around when you know it's safe to do so. Mm-hmm. How does that work? Mm-hmm. How does it work? How? That's crazy. When I'm missing, would you miss me? Come on, dog. Wonder if I leave or stay. What she said? Wonder should I leave or stay? Who would phone me? Yeah, I can see you on your phone right now, about to text somebody back who you was neglecting to text.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, dog.
Oh my gosh.
For real. Now, for real. It's like, would you phone me if you went missing? Would you tap in? Would you say, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a grip. It's a very good book. It's a very good book.
Even though I did, like I read a lot of these, if he hadn't chosen this one, I would have chosen it. Because to me, like the way she ended this poem, like, and it's funny to hear him read it the way he did. He read it with a little bit more intensity and like anger. When I read it myself, it was more of like it was more timid, like, you know what I mean, like just coming to a realization that like I'm really there for you, like I really be out here caring, I be there. But when I needed the most, the people who I thought, you know what I mean, this person or whoever it is who I thought would reciprocate the same energy that I be putting out is not putting out that energy. The fact that she said, I guess it's safe to say you only play it safe, only come around to fix your plate, but when the table's empty, I never see your face. Okay. Like, and it literally says at the very last line, it's just okay. It's like, okay, I see how it is. Like, bet. Honestly, that's how when I read that, I was like, wow. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people can relate to that. In one way or another, at some point in their life, they might have felt the way she felt in this poem. Like, you know what I mean? It's just raw, like I really did appreciate this one. So if he didn't pick it, I would have picked it. But because he did, I had to choose another one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that table line.
Thank you for bringing that out, because I didn't bring that out.
Heavy.
Those were just 2 poems out of many. Go check it out. Habits by Jaz Evon. There is a short film coming out that is in correspondence to this poetry book, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how she puts this into an audio visual form. Mm-hmm. So, man, I'm looking forward to that. Jaz Evon, tap in with the pod, tap in with the gang. There's some things we got to speak about. But this is the Cool Hand Podcast. Kayla, thank you for coming on. It's been about a year since the last time you came on.
Thank you very much for having me.
You have any last words?
I do not, no.
Okay, Kayla just got her hair done, so everybody
Okay.
spam heart eye emojis in the comments. You look very nice.
Oh, thank you.
I love you.
Oh, you better stop. You better quit playing on the camera now.
She didn't say it back. This is the Cool Hand Podcast. Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.